Hello everyone, I'm Matthew Johnson, owner of Elite Singer, and today we're going to be talking about a very popular singing idea: don't sing from the throat. If you enjoyed the video, please consider liking, commenting, subscribing. It greatly helps out the channel, and I would appreciate it very much. This common tip, don't sing from the throat, is something that we hear teachers and singers say all the time, but it's actually something that could be detrimental, and we're going to dig into why. So the throat has two tubes. You have the esophagus at the back, that is our food tube, and whatever we eat and drink goes down that tube. And then in the front we have the trachea, and that is our windpipe. So as we breathe in, air goes through into our lungs, and that's how we breathe, which is obviously very important. Now above the trachea we have the larynx, and the easiest part of the larynx to find is if you place a finger on the biggest bulge in your neck. That's the thyroid, or some people call it the Adam's apple or Eve's apple. And behind the thyroid are where our vocal folds are. So when we sing, what happens is the vocal folds vibrate together and they create pitch due to those vibrations. Without the vocal folds, without those vibrations, we don't have the human voice. So this is what's really important to keep in mind. We have our vocal folds in the larynx, which is above the trachea, and because of that, there's no other place we can sing. We have to sing from our throat, literally. That is the only physical way that we can create vibrations to create the human sound. Without it, there's no way that we could sing or speak. So we can bust that myth, don't sing from the throat. We have to. That's the only way we can create sound. Now, the saying does have very good intentions, though it can be misleading. So what it's trying to say is don't overuse the outer muscles of the neck or the throat. So whether there are veins popping out or muscles popping out, too much squeezing on the breath, too much tightness or strain, of course that's something that we want to avoid. But a lot of times people hear this saying and think, oh, we don't want to feel anything in the throat at all. We should feel like this is just an empty tube with nothing going on, and that's where the trouble comes in. And we can have both. We can understand that the voice does come from the throat, but we don't need to overstrain everything around it to make it happen. So let's experiment with this a little bit. What I want you to do is say for me, hey, super loose, super breathy, super open, and just think of what that feels like. Maybe that feels very loose, feels like there's very little going on, or that there's a lot of breath flow going through your voice as you sigh and speak like that. Now what I want you to do is say, go! Nice and strong, nice and powerful. Maybe you're feeling thickness, strength, oomph, resistance of breath. And you'll feel different sensations in the throat, creating those different sounds. So if we can understand how these feelings can change how we sound, that gives us a lot more control as a singer. If we can memorize those feelings and come back to them whenever we need to do any type of sound, chest voice, head voice, vocal fry, any type of distortions you're doing, riffs or runs, memorizing the sensations here allow you to come back to those sounds and replicate them over and over and over again, and that leads to confidence and consistency as you sing. And the easiest way to build this control is to understand that, yes, indeed, our voice does come from our throat. And not only that, but we have a lot of control as to what the vocal folds and the muscles within the larynx can do to create different sounds. So what I want you to do over the next few days as you practice is journal. Write down what you're feeling, or if you don't want to write it down, that's fine too. You could just think of things off the top of your head, but I want you to be aware of what different sensations are you feeling as you sing. Just take note of it, and you'll feel that very quickly you'll have a lot more control over your voice because you're very aware as to what you're doing and what you're feeling to create the sounds that you need. This new mindset is going to be huge because we're not going to be actively trying to ignore the very place where the vocal folds live in our bodies, our throat. All this to say we don't want to tense the outer muscles of the neck and throat, but there's literally no other place where our voices could come from if not from our throat. And understanding that is going to be a huge asset as you build your voice. So let me know in the comments what you think. This is controversial. I mean, this is a tip that's been used so many times over and over and over again by teachers and singers alike, but I want to hear what you got. What do you think of all of this that I just threw at you? Also, make sure to check out the description. I have a free resource for you full of tips to help you improve your voice. And of course, thank you for watching. I will see you soon for more voice training content.